Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. This video is to bring you a closer look at the Ultra Hardware number 35338R1. This is a box of two, 4.5 by 4.5 inch, single acting spring hinge, full mortise, standard weight, steel base, satin chrome finish. That's what this is. Okay, I have to say that I have reviewed probably hundreds of pieces of Ultra hardware, and much of it is certainly very good. So much of it is good, no question, and especially for the dollar. But I'm very. This is the item from Ultra that I'm most impressed with. The fit and finish on this is very good. Okay, I'm impressed with it. Not that their fit and finish isn't good, but for an import item, boy, if I were to hold that off at 6 feet and compare it against 5 other manufacturers, domestic names, I would be hard pressed to see any difference. That's for sure. Okay. I don't have. Boy, this is eerily similar to many other hinges. I sell this hinge to school districts. And I can tell you that I've had zero failure rate on this hinge, and it's probably even in a marginally abusive environment as well. So based on my initial reaction and my data of prior sales, I wouldn't hesitate to use this at all. Dollar for dollar, it's a tremendous value. It's a good looking hinge. Generally what happens with import sorts of hardware is something is different somewhere. And really in a hinge, it's going to be the thickness. However, we've got the staff of truth here. I'm just going to tell you, this hinge ought to be 0.134 inch. And I'll be darned, but that's 1.32 inch, the thickness of that hinge leaf. The gauge shows at 1.34, but when I put that down, no, it comes to natural. It comes to a natural rest exactly at 1.34. Well, anyway, it moves a little bit when I take it off. So the gauge is exactly correct. Exactly correct. Tremendous. Very impressed. This is a typical sort of design shared by some manufacturers, not all, where there is an included Allen wrench and there is a tension pin. This order happens to have 2 hinges, so it should have only 2 tension pins. It's not to be expected that more tension pins are to be included with your shipment. However, if you have any left over, save them and hide them, because someday you might say, oh, I changed the tension and the pin sprung out of my hand and I've lost it. So the way that these work is that, well, let's go over the part number first. The 353381R1 is this hinge. Okay, it's a box of 2. You need to know that when you buy one, you're going to be sent 1 pair of hinges. That's just how these are sold. It says that down below. It is single acting. Okay, this is just for a single acting door. It's full mortise, meaning that you can see from the swag on the hinge leaves there that when the leaves are brought parallel, they're meant to be mortised flush to the edge of the door and frame. Standard weight, we discussed that, 0.134 inch, and it's spot on. Satin chrome finish, and a very nice, consistent satin chrome as well. Made of steel. Okay, it's a steel-based hinge. Standard weight, UL listed, which is right there stamped on the hinge leaf. This is an ANSI template pattern, and that means that it's the standard common template pattern for holes on hinges that you will see on hollow metal doors and frames, and therefore wood doors as well. Non-reversible, includes the tension rod and the pins. So you can install this on either left-hand doors or right-hand doors, doesn't matter. Install it with the tension collar, Allen wrench here, tension collar pointed towards the top. The bottom does not have a hole in it at all. There's a hole that's here. As you insert the tension rod, or pardon me, the Allen wrench or tension rod into the hole and turn it clockwise, that's the important thing, clockwise, you reveal new additional holes. It's into one of those holes that you will insert a tension pin. Generally about 3 holes of adjustment is what you should be dealing with. So you'll insert the tension pin and test your operation. Go about it. I am a fan of all spring hinges on a door. most applications probably are going to call for 2 if it's a 80-pound door. But if you get above there, above 90 pounds, and it's a 3-foot door, you're looking at 3 spring hinges generally, although not always. I find you will have significantly greater predictable operation behavior out of the door when you have more spring hinges on a door rather than less. Now, I'm not a fan of spring hinges as a device to close the door because it's a spring. It's like a gate. Just will open the gate, that tension gets stored into the spring, and then it's released, and it will slam or it won't get all the way closed. That is not a very predictable way to close commercial doors, especially if they're fire rated. That door not only needs to be self-closing, but the other requirement is that it's self-latching. And if the door doesn't latch, it's not fire rated for all intents purposes. So when you have more spring hinges rather than less on a door, and by the way, you can mix and match this with a typical 4.5 by 4.5 inch hinge from Ultra, because that vertical axis of pivoting is going to be compatible with standard hinges. You will find that you can set the load on all of those spring hinges, share the work amongst all of them, have more stored energy at both obviously the opening part of the door but also the latching part, and you can maybe set that stored energy so that you can get the door latched without it slamming. Okay, sometimes what will have to be done and changed over the period of a year because of barometric pressure changes, application changes, whatever the case might be, open windows because it's summertime and now the door behavior has changed because pressure is coming through the building differently. You'll find that when you've got more spring hinges, you can set that load so that you've got better control, meaning that at the last part of the cycle, there's more stored energy to get the door latched. I liken it to a tugboat. They don't go very fast, but they can pull a lot of weight. And having more spring hinges sharing that work is like that tugboat. It will just get it done. And that's my logic on spring hinges. I'm a fan of using hydraulic control, whether it's surface closers or overhead concealed or floor closers, because hydraulic control allows you to control that door, control it. The spring doesn't really allow you to control it, whereas with hydraulic control you can. However, that's really not appropriate in all instances. You might have a 6-story condo building, and all of the unit doors, the condo entry doors, they're all 20-minute doors or 60-minute doors or whatever it is. Those are fire rated. They're not, the developer, the contractor, they're not installing surface closers on those doors. It's residential. That would be atypical. Spring hinges are a good solution for that, even though not perhaps the best, but they do work. I don't like the slamming of spring hinges over the life of a door, a frame, and the wall condition. I think that's difficult. But again, there are times when spring hinges are the best option. So you can always add more hinges should you find that your control isn't better, whatever the case might be. But they are sold in multiples of 2, so that might be something. It's good if you have even number of 7-foot doors, I say, where there's 3 hinges on a door, and you'll end up needing 3 boxes because you've got 6 hinges you have to replace, whatever the case might be. I wouldn't hesitate to use it. I am impressed, as I said earlier, with that fit and finish. Ultra, the name is synonymous with good quality, good value, import builders hardware. There's a link below this video to their manufacturer page where you can pull up their product catalog and view the comprehensive offering of material they have. Commercial hardware, exit devices, door closers, obviously hinges, lock sets. They get into a lot of residential hardware, sliding patio door parts they'll get into, and then they have a comprehensive offering of cabinet hardware as well. Any questions on the Ultra 35338R1, 4.5-inch spring hinge, or any other Ultra product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.